be feeling like I'm academics. Can't
if you've never watched an academic stream because you're just on Twitter or wherever just hating on me constantly, welcome. But with you being here, I also want to be methodical and show you how normally I get down. We get to the nitty gritty. We're not just here blowing gas. So Frozen Moments LLC is a company. This is, it was formulated back in, I believe, 2009. Yes, 2009. After it was formulated in 2009, in May, 8 days later, Drake, and by the way, it's only owned by Drake. It was then transferred from Frozen Moments Inc. to Frozen Moments LLC. Okay? These are the formation, or these are the business documents that also show the change from whatever to whatever. And I'm assuming at some point, maybe Drake did have, it gives the address to. I'm pretty sure he doesn't live there anymore. Remember when Drake was like, "Yo, got a condo out on Biscayne," and maybe that's what his apartment. So if y'all niggas are a little nerdy and y'all want to go check where the fuck was Drake was staying, 50 Biscayne Boulevard. Let me look that up. You know me, I'm on some bullshit. 50 Biscayne Boulevard. Where was that nigga staying at? This is where he's staying? Okay. All right, Aubrey. So I guess he was staying here in apartment, what? 3801? All right. So anyway, so it looked like, this is at the beginning of his career. I guess they made a business, and then they then turned it into, they registered it where he was at the time. Okay, cool. Got a mailing address there. All right, cool, blah, blah, blah. All right, so basically, and yes, and then the only person, which is the manager and sole member, is Aubrey Drake Graham, who lives or had the condo out in Biscayne, right? Bet this is his signature, and that was that. So that's what Frozen Moments LLC is, right? If you ask me, and I keep telling you guys these things, so like most of these companies, like, I always tell people, I'm like, yo, Lil Uzi Vert, what's his name, Samir or something? I guarantee that Atlantic doesn't have like a contract that says Samir is directly signed to them. Samir is signed to Generation Now. And by the way, he might even have a company that owns or controls all the rights to his music. Or, sometimes, I think this company Drake probably created to probably own the copyrights and stuff like that for him. And then that company, is just protecting assets. All right. Anyway, not trying to bore you with the legal bullshit, but okay. So now you know what Frozen Moments is. People have seen it pop up here and there, especially when, some of these people, when Drake, has he ever really gone inactive? But there's times when, if you ever want to know when an artist is about to drop something, if they do it normally, they'll submit it to the label, and the label at that point does a shit ton of stuff, including sometimes filing copyrights and registering certain things that could be trademarks. Now, people who are usually waiting on someone to drop an album who doesn't drop an album, they usually stalk these things. Hey, let's see if Kendrick registers a trademark or copyright of anything. And that usually means, that's maybe their new album title or whatever the case is, right? So people have seen like this Frozen Moments thing pop up a couple times, and that's why they've tied it to Drake. So it's Drake's company. That's all you need to know, right? Let's keep it simple. So today there was a filing, and it's a filing from Drake, which is actually a petition. Drake has petitioned the court to have them put Universal Music Group and Spotify on notice that they intend to file that Drake and his company, Frozen Moments, intend to file a lawsuit basically claiming that they allowed, interference from bots and otherwise for the inflation of streams, obviously during the rap battle, that resulted in damages to perception. Okay? Now, the full The full lawsuit isn't out yet. Obviously, they haven't filed it, but the petition is out. And this is going to be a very slippery slope. I'll give you my opinion first. I do think, and I'm a huge Drake fan. Yeah, I do know, number one, the biggest Drake fan. But we got to be very careful here. Because as much as I work with the music industry, I am not a part of the music industry as a part of the label structure. So I could say this. A lot of what the music industry does is like a Ponzi scheme. I've told you this when Nicki Minaj used to claim other artists are botting streams, but that accusation made it seem like all her streams are real and all the other persons, whoever she's competing with, are fake. Now, the reason why I say it's a slippery slope, Spotify and Universal Music Group, they're number one business partners. Number two, here's the thing. As long as they're busting down that money, it's one of those things where I personally believe neither of them are doing too much to combat streaming or botting in terms of major label artists. Now, granted, if you are not signed to a major label and you put out music through Spotify or one of these other DSP conglomerates and you bot streams, of course they're going to ban you or penalize you. They're incentivized to do it. They have no business dealings with you, right? So why would they overpay for these inflated streams that are fake? Now, here's the thing about when it comes to the music industry. And to make this really a little bit more of a simpler case without getting too deep into it, inflated sales has always been part of the business practice for the music industry. It's always been that. Back in the day, they used to say labels would buy their own CDs. That's when Nielsen, SoundScan, your first week sales would be not what sold, it would be what shipped. So they would just increase purchase orders and, we need this guy to sell 300,000. Let's just ship 300,000 because of a weird purchase order. That blah, 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 blah. And then let's have some type of scheme to return those whatever items to the store. Later on, we get the number perception. Fans think it's 300,000. They're now. So manipulating the audience has always been part of the game. Always. Radio, most of that game is manipulating the audience. When, it's explicitly illegal for a label to pay, so payola is illegal. So say I'm going to give you $1,000 to play my artist's song. That's illegal because you're using regulated federal airwaves that the FCC monitors. You can't do that. How do they get around it? I'm going to buy $500,000 of ads on your station because all these stations are ran by ads. We have a Wiz Khalifa album and we have this album dropping. We're also going to give you an interview by them. It would be dope if you could show us some love back. Of course. Your song is getting played every hour on the fucking hour, right? Come on, we're making money. So this whole thing, it's always been, the music game has always been like really a Ponzi scheme, a little bit. Like the major labels realize, and this is why when people like start these smart ideas, I'm going independent, fuck out of here. You can't beat these guys who own 90% of the market share. You can't, okay? Off the catalog market share, actually. It's around 80 to 90% of the streaming market share. But catalog, they own the majority of it. So if they have the ultimate power with TikTok, Spotify, Meta, they bully everybody because if you want music, 3 companies control it. Universal Music Group was the big dog. Then we have Sony Music Group, and then we have Warner. Okay? Now, I hope you guys are getting some understanding. Cool. So my opinion before we get into this, and I have the whole petition here, is that I don't know how to feel about this Because if you are a major label artist, and I don't care who you are, I don't care if you're Drake, Lil Nas X, I don't care if you're Kendrick Lamar, I don't care, all of y'all, it's impossible that any artist has, any major label artist, in my opinion, has 0% of bots. Why? It's incentivized that these labels control perception. How do they control perception? Is to by rig the game by inflated views, inflated streams, and inflated everything. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's a point that's outside of Drake, Kendrick, any particular artist. So that's my thing. If you ask me, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Spotify, they're in cahoots with UMG, Warner, and Sony to make sure that there will never be a true independent market because they make too much money literally suppressing that, funneling. By the way, Spotify even announced some shit that, there's certain things with Spotify when it comes to playlists. They won't be like, they'll tell you the random bullshit. Oh, anybody could get on a playlist. Brother, don't have a label. Like, if you think Universal Music Group will let like some like 15 random people without them being on a label eat up 15 spots on the most coveted playlist, you're out of your fucking mind. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't work like that. So it's kind of all of a, it's a finesse. Anyway, so let's get to it. So this was a petition that was filed today. We have, and this was filed in the Supreme Court of the state of New York, where we have essentially Drake's company, Frozen Moments. They're announcing, right? They're announcing that, Spotify, Universal, we're about to sue y'all. We believe that y'all have done certain things or allowed certain things that has now caused damage to me as an artist, and we want you to preserve or to hold these things or give us the data or evidence that we would need to actually file the lawsuit. So let's just read through it. So cool. So it says, in the matter of application of Frozen Moments LLC for an order, whatever, it's a civil blah, 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 UMG and Spotify. Now, very clear, and what should be noted, this is not a lawsuit yet. It is not a lawsuit, okay? So Frozen Moments and its attorneys, right? So Drake's company, and by the way, I do want to be honest here, just me being 100% honest with y'all. I don't know how they flagged this. I'm pretty sure someone has some type of, civil court flag for Drake's company. I think Drake tried to file this under his company. And if you're looking for Aubrey Drake Graham on the lawsuit as a petitioner, he's not. It's his company. And whether his company has expanded and he's listed officers or whatever of his LLC, it doesn't matter. He's the boss. Do you get what I'm saying? So I think he tried to do it under the LLC, but he's suing MMG. Not MMG, UMG. Okay. So, so they're basically saying this is a pre-action disclosure. And by the way, if you guys do want to see all these documents afterwards, they'll be on the academy.blog. For an order granted limited pre-action disclosure from the respondents, UMG and Spotify, directing a preservation of relevant evidence in possession, custody, or control of UMG. Now, that's also very important and very interesting, chat. What that statement alone tells you or should tell me, the biggest artist in the game, right? Let's say biggest rap artist, because we know Taylor is the real biggest, but let's be honest, right? If he has to sue to get the data, it shows you how much or how little actually artists actually know about what the fuck their label does. Because he has some facts, but he needs all the facts to really file his lawsuit, and he got to sue them to get it. So even their biggest artists, they're not like, oh, we're open book, come look at everything. No, hell no. Just kind of goes back to it. When you're on a major label, I don't care how well you get compensated. You're just a nice, good old slave. Whether you're Drake, Kendrick Lamar, I don't give a fuck if you're the baby, Lil Baby. You could be anybody. Once you see UMG, this is why, as crazy as y'all want to say Kanye is, he don't seem that crazy no more, do he? He don't be seeming that crazy. Oh yeah, like which by the way, this also makes an interesting parallel. When you hear the likes of Pusha T, Kendrick, or even Drake talking about who signed to who and you signed to one nigga that signed to one nigga that, y'all all signed to the slave master. Shut up. All y'all shut up. All three of y'all. Shut up. Let's be very honest. We're going to just call a spade a spade. If Universal is on the back of your CD, and yes, Kendrick Lamar GNX is released by Interscope, that's a subsidiary of UMG. Y'all are all slaves. Shut up. We don't want to hear none of y'all talk about, you don't get no brownie points for saying, oh, I sleep next to Master's room. You sleep 5 doors down. None of y'all should be talking like that when y'all have to go hit up old Massa, UMG, to say, what's up with the accountant? What's up? Shut up, all of y'all. And I'm saying it respectfully to Drake, Kendrick, and the rest. Let's be clear. But let's get into it. So it's the nature of the dispute. In a memo to the staff reflecting the highlights of 2021, the CEO of UMG, Lucian Grange, remarked on it being harder than ever for artists to break through the noise. 60,000 songs are added to Spotify every day. Spotify is the world's most popular audio streaming subscription service as of the end of the third quarter in 2024. Boasted almost 640 million monthly active users, 250 million subscribers. They pay the music companies like UMG for the right to license the songs so they could play them on a streaming and subscription platforms. In 2023 alone, Spotify paid more than $9 billion to music labels and producers. Hip-hop is one of the most popular genres on Spotify, amounting to nearly a quarter of all streams on Spotify Global in 2023. Spotify and UMG have a long-standing symbiotic business relationship. As one of Spotify's earliest supporters, UMG entered a multi-global license agreement with Spotify in 2020. UMG and Spotify collaborate on strategic marketing campaigns, facts, and products. And in 2024, they announced an expansion of their strategic partnership through which Spotify will amplify. Oh, yeah, that was a thing. This is the finesse right here, Chad. I ain't gonna lie to you. This is when you realize if you're an independent artist, they have made it that you got to sign to these niggas, these major labels to win. Look, they have a UMG, the biggest label out, got Drake, Weeknd, Kendrick, all these niggas. They have a strategic partnership where Spotify will amplify music discovery and social interaction and enhance fan experience across the platform for UMG family of artists and songwriters. Come on. Basically, if you're an independent artist, you stand no fucking chance. If someone looks at Spotify and they see Taylor Swift, Kendrick, Weeknd, Drake, all the top artists, Post Malone, then they see you, how the fuck will they ever click on your music? Let's be honest, right? This shit's a finesse. Based on UMG, and by the way, this is going to be, I know I'm going on mad tangents. This is a precursor to a lot of things happening. You got the biggest artist suing. That's a problem. That's a problem. But what we're going to see, and this is what I'm going to love, is the transparency. Because it's going to come out. And listen, what's that saying? What don't come out in the thing, come out in the thing. It's going to come out in these lawsuits. The nature of some of the business practices that some of y'all have been oblivious about, okay? So cool. Based on UMG financial reporting, Spotify paid UMG around $2.28 billion in 2023, which amounted to 19% of Universal Music Group's total revenue in 2023. Which, by the way, you should see how much UMG is dominating. Sorry, I got to make sure y'all can see everything. You can see how much they're dominating. So Spotify last year paid UMG $2.28 billion, and that was 1/5 of what UMG makes. Where's the other money coming from? Vinyls, licenses with TikTok, Apple, Meta, all them little swipe up things. I'd be like, yo, oh shit, I'm adding a song to my store. Yeah, they're getting paid. You get what I'm saying? Streaming is essential to UMG current bottom line and its future business strategy. In a report related to the third quarter of the 2024, UMG noted a nearly 29% year-over-year decrease in downloads and other digital revenues because the continued format shift towards streaming across the music industry. Their long-term strategy relies upon accelerating the growth of and monetization from the streaming and subscription. In October 2024, UMG unveiled a new slogan, Streaming 2.0. That was last month, people. Which illustrates the importance UMG places on saturating the streaming market. Didn't I tell y'all that, chat? They don't give a fuck. Just keep dropping music. Your new music makes the old, your new whack music makes the hot music that you dropped when you first came out that got you on go up more, which ironically, they own more of that than usually this, right? In 2024, UMG did not rely on chance or even ordinary business practices to break through the noise on Spotify and likely other music platforms. Instead, launched a campaign to manipulate and saturate the streaming services and airwaves with a song, Not Like Us, in order to make that song go viral, including by using bots and pay-to-play agreements. UMG released Not Like Us on May 4th, 2024, pursuant to various contractual rights. UMG, via division Interscope, has exclusive control over the licensing of the song. On information and belief, UMG charged Spotify licensing rates 30% lower than its usual licensing rates for Not Like Us. In exchange for Spotify affirmatively recommended the song to users who are searching for unrelated songs and artists. Now, let me stop it there, people. Let me stop it there. This is going to be big. This is going to be big. Let me tell you this. I'm like the Joker. I can't wait to see the industry burn. I love it, though. I get paid by it. So, I do, what I mean? It's a little bit like, but still, we're going to have fun with this. Check this out. Let me tell you the crazy games that's going on. Number one, shout out to my man Larry Jackson, a guy who's a hero and a villain in some sorts. He's now, what's a new company called? I forgot what it's called. Remember that company? You got Sexy Reds over there. Let me just Google it. Larry Jackson, Sexy Red. What's the name of that shit? Gamma. Okay, Gamma. Okay, cool. Anyway, very smart guy. One of the guys that was also very instrumental, even me getting the Spotify contract because of some things. I explained that before. Anyway, here's the thing. Let me explain. I'm trying to explain this little short piece of info. Why did I bring up Larry Jackson? Larry Jackson gave Drake $20 million for him to drop. I forgot what project it was. It might have been, what was it? My memory's kind of failing me now. What the fuck? He dropped some project on there early, and when he dropped the project early, they gave him $20 million for a week, right? Just drop it on here for a week, and we'll give you $20 million, right? They started doing exclusives. Chance the Rapper dropped his projects exclusively to Apple. People are doing exclusives. And after that time, Lucian Grange basically said, enough. Why? Here was the problem. These artists, they were circumventing the labels. So the labels have deals with all of these companies. None of these deals cite preferential treatment, which means when a song is available to Apple, it's available to Spotify, okay? UMG pays Drake. They have a contract with Drake. Remember, they're the middle guy. That they've kept themselves in the middle because they own the catalogs. The artists started taking, here's a little 20 million bag, but put your shit over here first. So they started circumventing their labels. The labels don't want to get pissed off at the artists because how you gonna get pissed off at Drake or Kanye? What, Kanye at the time? Like, these are the biggest artists. You're like, wait, when are we gonna get the whole thing that we can put it everywhere? They're like, give me a week. The artists are lit. They're like, $20 million? Fuck out of here. Shit. You know what I mean? Cool. What ended up happening is that Spotify came bitching. Real talk. Spotify's like, hey, yo, you got Apple spending all this goddamn bread. We're all in this licensing deal. We got a deal with y'all like they got a deal. Why do they get the deal? Why do they get a song or an album a week early? Also, here's the thing. If that keeps happening, we're going to lose our subscribers. This is actually fucking up and threatening the deal we have with y'all. So Lucian Grange, the guy who owns UMG, stepped in and said, enough. First of all, we're not getting none of this money from the exclusive shit. It's going straight to the artist, which that's a no-no. You can't have the slaves collecting their own check. That's a fact. You just can't. Can't. You don't pay the slave directly. You pay the master, and he give out the slaves whatever he wants. So that they had to stop it. So Lucian, and I'm not calling Lucian a slave master at all. Fuck with Lucian, especially his son. My guy Elliot, that's my guy. But the point is this, and I'm just talking about major labels as slave masters. They told him, cut that shit out. So they ended all exclusives, right? That was a couple years ago. During this battle, these artists, because timing and all these other aspects, some of the songs, the samples weren't cleared, they wanted to circumvent it to take advantage. They want to circumvent the label structure, which is kind of rigid a little bit, to take advantage of the timing to win a rap battle, right? I'm getting to somewhere here. So when you get Kendrick or Drake who drops a song via their YouTube or their Instagram, Spotify and Apple are not happy. Why the fuck are you dropping music on? They're looking at Meta in terms of Instagram, or they're looking at YouTube in terms of their competitor, because YouTube also releases music. Why do they get it early? I thought we were done with this exclusive shit. Keep in mind, for a while, they used to drop music, like during the battle, they were dropping music just straight on, like you couldn't find it on Spotify first, right? Okay. So this is how I'm, this is me not really guesstimating, but I think I'm right on the money with this. I don't know how they got the info that Spotify did a deal with UMG, but usually, like for example, I know as a fact, Apple Music and Spotify, they're tight that Drake keep dropping shit on Instagram. They don't like it. They don't like that shit. Drop it on Spotify, nigga. They don't want your new song on your fucking Instagram. They did not pay billions of dollars to have the licensing rights for you to drop shit on Instagram. For your biggest artist, UMG's biggest artist, Drake or Kendrick or whoever, to drop it on Instagram. They don't like that shit. Okay? So this is where Drake's people are coming to the idea of, wait. Oh, I forgot this last part. So let me tell you what Spotify and Apple, and let me just say DSPs. Let me not make it just Spotify. Historically, after Lucian and everybody came out to say no more exclusives, if an artist drops a song and gives an exclusive to any of the bunch, which means you give it to YouTube, you give it to Apple Music, or if you give it to Spotify, the other companies penalize you, which means, oh, we're not about to give it as much love on the playlist because we're going to show you don't do no more exclusive shit. We're not doing that. All of us need to get it at the same time because when one person get it, everybody goes to them. Drake and his team is saying, though Kendrick dropped the shit on YouTube as an exclusive, there's a window, Spotify still came back around and said, and according to them, in exchange, Spotify recommended the songs to users who were searching for the song for unrelated songs and artists, and supposedly UMG charged Spotify a rate of 30% lower. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. However Drake's team is going to prove this is going to... This is how I know a lawsuit's definitely coming. You don't find out this info that UMG did a deal with Spotify that Not Like Us... Like, hold on. Let me just do this real quick. Let's go to Spotify.com. Kendrick Lamar. Right? Okay. Hold on. Sorry. Where's Not Like Us at? Not Like Us. Wait. I'm trying to see the streams. What the fuck? I have to go on the other shit. Sorry. I'm trying to just give you I'm trying to give you a quantity or just a rough estimate of like how much money we're talking about here. Right? Because according to Drake and his team, this is a special deal, right? So Not Like Us is around 1 billion streams, right? It's around 1 billion streams. Now, quick math on usual licensing, whatever, and payouts, right? It's about $4,000 per 1 million streams, okay? In the payouts, right? So when you have 1 billion, that's 1,000 million, right? Times 1,000. Okay. Now, that number is only the number based on a certain rate. Essentially, what I'm trying to tell you, okay, even though I think I probably fucked that up. The point what I'm saying is that they did some very interesting deal that probably got Spotify to pay out less for Not Like Us, right? As long as Kendrick's song got recommended through algorithms. Now, that's a very interesting accusation, and I don't know how Drake's team has that information, but they claim that's going to be, well, they don't claim. We have to assume it's going to be a part of a lawsuit, right? We got to assume, right? Okay, cool. And by the way, that 4,000 number is usually off because that's for niggas releasing on DistroKid. You know what I mean? DistroKid and TuneCore. Labels have a very special type of, and by the way, that's not what the song is actually grossing and how they cut all the revenue because there's publishing. There's a lot more other shit with it, right? I don't want y'all to just think that, oh no, there was just $4 million. It's way more money, right? I would imagine it's tens of millions of dollars, and whatever deal they did for Not Like Us, the resulting repercussions is tens of millions of dollars for UMG and Spotify, depending on who got the better of whatever. And UMG might be like, well, just give us a promo. We'll take way millions less. Spotify is like, well, we'll keep millions more. We'll just fuck with the algorithms. According to what Drake's team is saying upon information. We don't know. They don't show any proof yet. Okay. On information and belief that Spotify pays UMG license fees through wires or mail. Okay? All right. UMG directly through Interscope also conspired with and paid currently unknown parties to use bots to artificially inflate the spread of Not Like Us and deceive consumers into believing song was more popular than it was in reality. Bots are software programs designed to mimic human behavior to appear to be real social media accounts. One individual, unknown to the petitioner, revealed publicly on a popular podcast that Mr. Kendrick Lamar, Duckworth's label, i.e. Interscope, paid him via third party to use bots to achieve 30 million streams on Spotify in the first days of his release of Not Like Us, with the goal of jumpstarting the song spread and turning it into a crazy hit on the platform. Now, I'll stop right there. I don't know if I think they might be referring to. I think they are, right? Exposed by okay. So remember when that hacker came on? A hacker came on my show, or not hacker. What am I calling him, hacker? But a social media guy, right? And look, all right, you guys know what video I'm talking about. I don't have to play it. Look like this is a. Why can't I see it? Okay, whatever. All right. Okay. Sorry. All right. So here's why also I'm a little bit like iffy on this lawsuit as well. I've told y'all, like, I know it feels like politics these days in music. So everybody's like, no, you like you like Drake, so you just hate Kendrick. No, that's not the truth. Like, even the whole thing with the bots, so everyone's like, oh no, the bots thing is just a lie. Here's my thing. My thing is that I don't think only Kendrick used bots. I think the whole game is botted. Y'all just keep thinking I'm saying it's only Kendrick. The whole game is, and that's why I don't like this lawsuit. Because here's the thing. Even if we're to believe that UMG conspired, or let's say Kendrick and his team botted, here's the problem with that. Every other person is doing it too. So there's more incentive to hide the entire finesse than to just protect one nigga. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, once you unveil this, it's a domino effect. Everybody falls. If UMG was to acknowledge that they have allowed or they had knowledge of someone faking streams, even not Kendrick Lamar, the entire situation, they'll be opening all type of class action lawsuits from other people who are within the market of releasing music saying, hey, these people have said in a public lawsuit, they know that people fake streams. So UMG will never, no matter who, they will never admit that they're in cahoots, that they've done it, or they've benefited from it. They won't. Because it's not about one artist. It's about the whole game, if you get what I mean. Okay. The whistleblower describes Spotify as an easy platform to bot because it does not, like other streaming platforms, have certain security measures when it comes to, bot protection. The whistleblower further revealed that on May 6th, an individual affiliated with Interscope sent him a payment of $2,500 via the digital platform Zelle, which is owned by a number of banks, and that he was promised another $2,500 and a percentage of the song total sales for his initial push. On information and belief that UMG hired other unknown parties to use bots to promote Not Like Us and also inflate streams of the Not Like Us music video, which UMG first published on July 4th, 2024, UMG appears to have used similar tactics with other streaming services. On information and belief, UMG paid and approved payments to Apple Inc. to have its voice-activated digital assistant, Siri, purposely misdirect users to Not Like Us. Online sources reported that when users asked Siri to play the album Certified Lover Boy by the recording artist Aubrey Drake Graham, doing business as Drake, Siri instead played Not Like Us, which contained the lyric Certified Pedophile, an allegation against Drake. UMG engaged in similar pay-to-play schemes to increase the airplay of Not Like Us on the radio, and the petitioner has obtained information from a third party indicating that at least one UMG employee made payments to an independent radio promoter serving as an intermediary who had agreed to transfer those payments to certain radio stations and or radio stations employees. These radio stations subsequently played, or caused to be played, Not Like Us, without disclosing that they had been played to do so. Ooh, this is actually a crime. Okay. This practice, known as payola, is prohibited by the Communications Act of 1934 and has been the subject of regulatory scrutiny by a number of executive agencies. In 2006, UMG agreed to pay $12 million in a settlement with the New York Attorney General following an investigation involving accusation that UMG executives had used a broad array of pay-for-play tactics to secure radio airplay for its music. In connection with UMG settlement, the then New York Attorney General Elliot Spitzer explained consumers have a right to not be misled about the way in which the music they hear on the radio is selected. He continued to say pay-for-play makes mockery of the claims that only the best or the most popular music is broadcasted. Separately, in 2005, UMG was sued by two radio promotion companies alleging fraudulent pay-to-play practices. While historically payola has been thought of in terms of paying radio stations for to play songs, in February 2020, the Federal Trade Commission released guidance stating that by paying an influencer to pretend that their endorsement or review is untainted by a financial relationship, this is illegal payola. On information and belief, UMG employed a similar scheme by paying social media influencers to endorse the song and the video. For example, the petitioner understands that UMG paid the popular NFR podcast, which nearly has 300,000 subscribers on YouTube and over 330,000 followers on X, to promote Not Like Us and its video without disclosing payment. As a part of his deal with UMG, the NFR podcast published podcast episodes, tweets, and other content publicly about the song. In a sea change for UMG's internal policy, UMG removed the song's copyright restrictions on YouTube and Twitch, thereby whitelisting the song for the first time in UMG history, which further incentivized influencers spreading the songs. UMG's scheme to ensure Not Like Us broke through on Spotify and elsewhere worked. Not Like Us broke Spotify records, and as Interscope posted on his X account. Not Like Us becomes the fastest rap song to reach, blah, blah, blah. Only took 35 days. To date, Not Like Us has almost 900 million streams on Spotify and holds a record for the biggest single day streams of a hip-hop song, the most streamed diss track in Spotify history. Not Like Us has spent 27 weeks on the Spotify City chart for New York City, which ranks as the weekly streaming popularity of the songs by users in New York. Within a week of its initial release, Not Like Us broke the record for the most streamed song in the 7-day period with 96 million streams. After UMG published the video, Not Like Us returned to the number one spot on the Billboard Hot 100. In the same week, the song was streamed an additional 53.8 million times and played on the radio an additional 40 million times. From July 4th to August 8th, the video ranked first on YouTube weekly top music video charts. On November 13th, the iHeartRadio leaderboard, let me put this right here, reported that Not Like Us was the second most popular song on the platform. On New York radio, Not Like Us remains, as of date of this following, a top 40 hit on popular music and hip-hop stations, including Z100, Power 105, WQHT, which is Hot 97. And from May 9th to August 15th, the song was among the top 10 of all streamed songs in New York City. UMG touted the record-breaking success. On July 16th, Interscope reposted on X that the song had become the best-selling rap song of 2024 in the U.S. On July 24th, they posted on his X account about the song charting as the most streamed song of the week. August 29th, they posted on X with a link to Summer Hits 2024 playlist by Spotify. And the caption said, Song of the Summer. UMG fam lands 4 out of 5 on Spotify. Birds of a Feather, Hot to Go, Not Like Us, and Espresso. Okay? UMG schemes to artificially inflate the popularity of Not Like Us were motivated, at least in part, by the desire of the executives at Interscope to maximize their own profits. UMG executives have an annual incentive program pursuant to which they are rewarded for meeting and surpassing their sales and profit projections, among other metrics. The incentives are largely based on the specific UMG division rather than the performance of UMG more generally. For example, the annual incentive or bonus of a Interscope CEO, John Janik, is based on 90% of the financial success of Interscope and only 10% of the financial success of UMG generally. That's very important. What they're saying is that they're suing UMG, but they're actually claiming it's Interscope doing it, even though Interscope is a part of UMG. And they're saying, well, okay, you're suing the whole company, but you're only claiming this part of the company is doing it. Why would this part of the company do it? And they're like, well, the executives for this part of the company have an incentive in their contracts to make them revenue. So, for example, in a diss track, you might be like, what helps Kendrick and Drake are both UMG artists. What helped Kendrick hurts Drake. If you're UMG, why the fuck would you want to cut your nose off to spite your face? They're saying, well, Interscope is with Kendrick, and they want to maximize their profits for their own pockets. So they're helping him, even though the song is kicking in the back of Drake. Cool. Thus, on information and belief, Mr. Janik and other executives at Interscope have been incentivized to maximize the financial success of Interscope through the promotion of Not Like Us and its revitalizing impact on the artist's prior recording catalog, including his first 5 studio albums, which are owned by Interscope. The petitioner has received information that UMG has been taking steps in an apparent effort to conceal its schemes, including but not limited to terminating employees associated with or perceived as having loyalty to Drake. So they're saying the bigger company is firing people who they think fuck with Drake because they're trying to conceal this shit. Indeed, UMG has demonstrated that it has no interest in taking responsibility for his misconduct. Over the past several months, Drake has repeatedly sought to engage UMG in discussion to resolve the ongoing harm he has suffered as a result of UMG's action. UMG refused to engage in negotiation and insisted that UMG is not responsible for his own actions. Instead, UMG has pointed the finger at Mr. Duckworth, a.k.a. Kendrick Lamar, and insisted that Drake should initiate legal action against Mr. Duckworth rather than UMG. So basically, according to Drake, he's saying Universal told him, bruh, if niggas is faking streams, we didn't do it. And we're talking about UMG as a conglomerate. Now, beneath the conglomerate, you have Interscope, and then beneath Interscope, you have PG Lang and Kendrick. So they're saying, hey, Drake, we not going to say niggas ain't doing some shit, but we didn't do it. And if you got a problem with niggas doing that, how about you go sue Kendrick? All right. Okay. Instead, UMG is pointing the finger at Mr. Duckworth. Mr. Duckworth insisted that Drake should initiate legal action against Mr. Duckworth rather than UMG, and even threatened to bring its own legal claims against Mr. Duckworth if Drake were to pursue claims against UMG. Now, that's very important. So apparently, they're saying, well, if you sue us, I'm guessing Drake probably came at them like, yo, check this out. Y'all are the parent label. I don't want to sue another rapper, right? Because we know how hip-hop is really stupid. You know, I seen a bunch of people, oh, my God, they're suing. He's not suing Kendrick, right? But it's funny, I see some of these slow artists like, yo, suing is in hip-hop? It very much is. When half of you fucktards get fucked by your label and you need to get out, you usually go to the courts. Y'all sue y'all label for unpaid royalties. Y'all audit them. Y'all file mad lawsuits against y'all labels. What the fuck? So here's the thing. I will admit, rapper versus rapper suing, that's never been heard of. But suing your label, that's always been a thing. What are you talking about? It's always been a thing. So here's the thing. Universal told Drake, yo, just sue Kendrick. I'm guessing Drake is like, no, I'm not suing Kendrick, I'm suing y'all. And they threatened by saying, if you sue us, we're suing him. Basically saying, all of us gonna be in this conversation together. If Drake sues Kendrick, he looks crazy. Drake suing his label, in my opinion, don't look crazy. Now, there are going to be still some people that say whatever, and for all those people, I would love for them to raise their hands one at a time, and I would love to, again, I got a lot of reach at all these labels. I would love to bring up, I probably either know y'all entertainment lawyers or whatever fuck shit that the labels have done to y'all that maybe you had to sue to get dropped. Y'all had to sue or have some type of arbitration to get off the label or to get paid. Having legal action versus your label is not that much out of the norm. Kanye West had legal action versus Def Jam and UMG. That's a fact. This is kind of the norm. Now, to be very fair, rapper versus rapper suing is not, and by the way, Drake, first of all, he hasn't filed a lawsuit yet, but he has filed this petition that's going at UMG. Okay? Let's be clear. All right. So apparently UMG told him, I don't know how they were communicating, yo, if you sue us, we're going to bring Kendrick into it anyway, because if there was bots and say some arbitrator or third party analyst finds that that Not Like Us got botted, that wasn't us. And if it was found liable by anybody who could be in business with us, it would have been Kendrick's team. So if you sue us and we're going to be held liable at all, right? And by the way, it's not even only the bots. For payola, right? We're going to then sue Kendrick. Now, let me tell you how this shit works, right? Kendrick has Kendrick gets an advance, just like most artists. Now, by the way, he has a very different contract than a regular artist. But still, labels are banks. Yo, here's this money up front. Go pay whatever. And however we bust it down on the back end, that's up for negotiation. Kendrick has a lot of leverage, probably owns his masters. Obviously there's some distribution there and maybe some other shit from old albums. So he has a very different deal, but it's still the same thing. Labels are still gonna, here's $70 million. Here's $100 million. And it's to cover blah, 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 blah. It's to prepay for the rights to blah, 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 blah. And this might be, come on, that's just how it goes. Here's the thing. The reason why they would say we gonna sue Kendrick is simply this. If Universal Music Group money paid somebody, right? Or let's say somebody got paid who was a botter or were these influencers, whoever, and that money's traced back to UMG. UMG's basically given the reason why they're saying they would bring Kendrick into it because they didn't do that. That's Kendrick doing it. You get what I'm saying? They're saying, no, we paid him, and under the agreements that we pay him, we're indemnified from the fuck shit he does. So if he paid some botters, if he paid some whoever, and he didn't disclose it, because remember, UMG already did a settlement for $12 million back in the day. If they didn't do it, that's their problem. We're indemnified from it. That's part of usually your record deal, right? And most record deals, and we're talking about civil liability here, usually says when we give you $1 million, you sign $1 million contract. We give you $1 million, we're indemnified from on how you're gonna spend it within certain realms. So if you go take $1 million and go put it on somebody's head and kill him, we ain't give you $1 million to kill nobody. Get out of here, nigga. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. So whatever the money they gave Kendrick or whatever they agreed to with Kendrick, they're basically saying yes, his music came out via us, but if there is any foul play, they're not admitting there's foul play. They're just saying if there is, we got to bring Kendrick into it. Because really, they were telling Drake from the get-go, sue Kendrick. And Drake didn't sue Kendrick. Drake sued them. Or not sued, but Drake is seemingly setting up to sue them. You know what I'm saying? Okay. All right. So this is more about the companies. The petitioner, Frozen Moments, is a liability LLC registered in the state of Florida. It's wholly owned by Drake, which Drake furnishes his recording services as a vocalist. So you can already know what that means. So that owns Drake's entity, okay? So I guess when Drake signed to Aspire and then went over to Young Money, and then that got moved over to Republic, but now his services, the rights to it are like half. I don't give an exact percentage. Some to Republic UMG. UMG owns Republic too. To UMG, but some of his rights are owned by OVO. So I just want to give y'all understanding why you're seeing Frozen Moments instead of OVO. OVO is his label, right? Frozen Moments seems to be the company that his artist likeness and probably I'm not sure if like all his writing credits go under there, but that probably owns the rights to like him making music, okay? But he owns the company, so he owns the shit. It's just, you know, you want to create an LLC in case shit goes bad at one point. You know what I'm saying? Cool. All right. So, and it says, all right, bet. So it furnishes his recording services as a vocalist, a musician, and as a copywriter. Yes. So exactly. So that company owns the copyright of all of Drake's songs, his sound recordings and music. Okay. As such, the petitioner competes with Interscope. Okay. Respondent UMG, who is a wholly owned subsidiary of Universal Music Group. A publicly, all right, we don't need to do that. UMG's division, not limited to Interscope, which represents Mr. Kendrick Lamar Duckworth, and Republic Records, which represents Drake, as I just said. Interscope, a publicity team operates. Okay, we don't care about that. And then Spotify is the other entity. Okay, so they're going at UMG and Spotify. Okay, we don't care about jurisdiction, and this is what they're requiring: preservation and for potential discovery. Frozen Moments has commenced this special proceeding pursuant to blah, blah, to seek pre-action discovery to allow petitioner 1 to identify appropriate defendants and frame a complaint for a claim under the Racketeering Influence and Corrupt Organization Act, RICO. And 2, identify appropriate defendants and frame a complaint for a claim under Section 349 of the New York General Business Law, which is the NY Deceptive Business Act, and Section 350 and 350A of the New York General Business Law, which is New York Falls Advertising Act. And they're going to try to explain both. Civil RICO. Okay, and I know somebody are like, oh my God, Drake's trying to hit him with RICO. Okay, here's why. The petitioner, Drake, has a viable cause of action for a civil RICO. Right? Now, a RICO, you know, it's the Racketeering Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, which we all know for getting gangs and the mob and the mafia and all that type of stuff, which means this is a organized criminal enterprise, right? Keep in mind, it's a crime to payola is a crime, right? And I guess they're saying, you know, UMG is engaged in this. To be honest, I'm going to be honest, and this is not me ad-libbing here and riffing. I don't know what Drake's goal is in this, because I think, number one, UMG is going to spend so much money. For any, like, decently serious lawsuit, they might spend, like, $100,000. It's going to make them salty towards him, right? Like, if legitimately, and that's their stance, we're going to read a statement by them later, they're going to say, oh, we ain't got no problem with Drake. The people choose. We just, you know, and their opinion is, we make money off both y'all bitch ass niggas. We don't give a fuck. Their thing is like, you think we care about our favorite slave? Y'all both slave. Fuck out of here. We make money off him and you. We don't give a fuck. So that's kind of their opinion. But you gotta imagine, it kind of makes you salty at somebody when they're now filing a lawsuit against you, right? So this is really interested in uncharted ground that Drake is getting into, but this is probably a preview of probably what's been going on for a while, and they probably haven't been on the best of terms. Now, the thing with Drake, we all know Drake, Drake one of them, you know what I mean? So it's like, we know his business has always been good. We've never heard messy stuff about Drake's business, right? Even when Wayne is like, yo, I'm not getting paid by Birdman, I'm owed this. Wayne never heard Drake said, yo, I'm broke out here, I need my money. Oh, this nigga ain't paying me. Drake business has always been a fucking one, right? But it appears that there might be some rough waters on the horizon, or maybe there's just some certain stuff that never came to light. We'll see. Anyway, so civil RICO, the petition has a viable cause of action for a civil RICO with the predicate of acts of wire fraud, mail fraud, and bribery for UMG payments to unknown parties in the form of reduced licensing fees to Spotify. However, the petitioner requires additional information in order to frame his complaint and satisfy the heightened Rule 9b pleading standard applicable to the complaints sounded in fraud. Specifically, the petitioner requires information about the method by which the third parties were paid in order to determine which underlying predicate acts to plead and to require information about which benefits were conferred upon UMG in the exchange of payments. Now, again, this is going to be really interesting. This is just my opinion here. Whatever amount of money that Kendrick did in a deal, or maybe like a small, whatever deal he has with UMG, I'm pretty sure they just gave him a bag of money. I'm pretty sure PG Lang collected the money and PG Lang spent the money how they seem accordingly. And whatever contract between them that UMG paid the money, they're indemnified, which means you can't sue them. Or not that you can't sue them, but if there are damages that they paid to someone else from the money that came from someone else, that's why they're saying we got to bring Kendrick in, because we don't sit here and pick out bots to pay. We don't sit here and pick out influencers to pay. We just kind of sit here and pay money out to these people who run their own label, which is PG Lang. So that's what I personally think, right? However, this is a good way for Drake to try to get the details of the relationship between UMG and PG Lang. Now, here's a problem with that. If it's what I think it is, to me, this doesn't go too far, because unless Drake sues Kendrick, you got to sue Kendrick. This is not Interscope. This is not UMG. This would be Kendrick's team. You got to sue Kendrick's team. So I get it. You're not trying to, like, you're playing the rapper thing and like, oh, I'm not suing Kendrick. I'm suing the labels. Great. Everybody sues labels. Get it. But what they're going to say is, we do nothing for Kendrick, just like how Universal does nothing for Drake. Drake just turns in music. They give him a lump sum of money. They come to them with a business plan or whatever. Yo, we gonna need this for this, this for this. This is why that God's Plan video, the niggas say, yo, they gave me $1 million. I'm giving it all out. That's our video. You think there was somebody at UMG that says, no, let's give out $1 million for free? Fuck no. Yo, it's Drake. We're doing a video. Biggest song in the world. All right, take $1 million budget. We'll give $1 million budget for that. Here's the $1 million. Drake and his team gave that shit out. You get what I'm saying? So I'm pretty sure whatever it is in terms of marketing promo for Kendrick, I'm pretty sure that's not UMG. I'm pretty sure they just gave that shit to PG Lang. PG Lang did that shit. So here's my thing. Drake gonna have to sue PG Lang and Kendrick at one point. Because even if he gets this information, that still won't have the stuff you want. Who paid the bots? The bots, if they were paid, if there were bots, are paid by Kendrick's team. PG Lang, right? Not UMG. Now, obviously, you could try to hold UMG liable to claim that they knew, but how could you, like, that's such a slippery slope, right? All right, deceptive business practices and false advertising. The petitioner has information on the agents. Hold on. I'm looking in the chat. Make sure everybody good. Everybody good? Y'all can hear me perfectly? Okay. Everybody can hear me perfectly? Oh, damn. We killing it today on YouTube. We got like 20 grand over there. They said we had 300,000 on Twitter. Holy. All right. The petitioner has information that the agents of UMG paid at least 1/3. Ooh, okay. Never mind. So everything I just said, never mind. I didn't read this part. The petitioner, so Drake, has information that agents. Now, see, that's a slippery slope. Agents of UMG. Who's the agent of UMG? Are we talking about a direct employee? Or are we talking about somebody who works at Interscope? Or are we talking about people associated with them? Are we talking about PG Lang? We don't know. Agents of UMG paid at least one third party to use bots to stream the song on Spotify, and on information believed that this practice extended to multiple third parties who artificially stream the song and video. UMG also gave financial benefits to Spotify and unknown third parties to promote and play the song and video without disclosing those payments. UMG then touted the success of the song and video, knowing the success was artificially inflated by its own manipulation. These practices harm consumers. They also violate the New York Deceptive Business Act and the New York False Advertising Act. Without the requested pre-litigation discovery, Drake lacks the sufficient information to identify the known but anonymous third-party streamer and to identify any additional streamers whom UMG paid. Petitioner also lacks sufficient facts to frame the complaint regarding what was exchanged for UMG payments. The petitioner seeks the following: in limited pre-action disclosure from UMG, documents and communication sufficiently to show the identities of all third parties that UMG, its agents, or anyone working on behalf of UMG Interscope paid without public disclosure to promote and publish this or recommend the song. It's a company cover, the image, or the video, not including but limited to radio stations, influencers, music platforms, and publication, as well as the dates, methods, and amounts of those payments, documents, and communications sufficient to show the identities of all third parties that UMG, its agents, or anyone working on behalf of UMG and Interscope paid to use bots or any similar technology to stream the song or video, as well as dates, methods, and amounts of payments, and documents, communication. Okay, a lot of the same stuff regurgitated. Also, now, this is what they're claiming from Spotify. They said, petition also seeks the limited pre-action disclosure from Spotify. And they want documents, communications sufficient to show blah, blah, blah. Same kind of thing. And they seek an order requiring UMG, including Interscope and all other divisions as well, to preserve all documents and communications regarding the song, image, video during the pendency and any litigation that the petitioner commences against respondent and / or any unknown third party. Okay. And they want the petition. Relevant evidence will be in the form of messages on social media platforms, payment applications, and text messages, including but not limited to iMessage and WhatsApp, which may not be preserved in the usual course. They're aware that senior executives at UMG regularly communicate for business through messaging platforms and applications. And Exhibit A to the verified petition is a proposed subpoena. Okay, so they propose a subpoena that they want UMG to give. And Exhibit B is a proposed subpoena to Spotify that they want them to give. And then Exhibit C is a proposed order authorizing the issuance of the subpoena in the form of subpoenas. Gotcha. All right. This is the law firm. It's filed today. And it's a verification. Aubrey Graham affirms the following to be true under penalty of perjury. Pursuant to civil practice, blah, blah, I am a corporate officer of the petitioner, Frozen Moments LLC, and in its proceedings, and thus have personal knowledge of the facts herein, blah, blah, blah. I affirm this on this date. This is his signature. So it appears that Drake signed this today. Today's the 25th, right? It was filed today, very early in the morning, or they probably prepared it on the weekend, and they signed it and filed it today. The clerk got us at 10 a.m. There was a memorandum also filed, and I'll see if there's any interesting stuff here. UMG's blah, blah, da, da. Kendrick is known as Kendrick, da, da. Okay. Interscope has contracts with Mr. Duckworth, which provides UMG with the control of the publication and license of the song. Da, da, da. Spotify. Da, da, da. All right, cool. This is a memorandum. This is like additional information, right? Beginning on or around May 4th, UMG provided financial benefits to third parties, reduced license fees. Okay, cool. Okay. All right, this is like additional info. They're using like a lot of things in the media. petitioner is aware that UMG conferred financial benefits to Spotify and other known third parties to increase the streaming numbers of Not Like Us. They do not. Drake does not have the details regarding the identities of the third parties, what precise financial benefits they were, but all of these things, and they're thinking about a civil recall. All right. Information should be preserved, and all good. Then the next thing is something they call Exhibit A. In Exhibit A, this is a proposed subpoena for UMG. You're hereby commanded, all businesses and excuses being laid aside, to make available for the inspection and copying and otherwise deliver accurate copies of the documents set forth in a schedule, blah, blah, blah. The disclosure sought from you, blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. All right. So this is a proposed subpoena for Spotify. No, not Spotify. I mean UMG. And I think this is the one for Spotify. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a Spotify USA. Gotcha. And the last thing is affirmation of counsel. Says this is the lawyer that is going to be working on Drake's behalf. And let's see a little bit more here. Frozen Moments also seeks an order directing the respondent UMG to preserve. Okay, we've seen that. According to the information provided to me by petitioner, by Drake, petitioner has viable cause of action and entitled to, okay, cool. Petitioner has attempted to meet. Okay, this is going to be interesting. So Drake has attempted to meet and confer with UMG regarding his concerns about UMG conduct, detailing the petition, for the last several months. But UMG has repeatedly declined to enter into substantive negotiations with petitioner. Instead, UMG has insisted that the petitioner must discuss UMG's conduct. Huh? Wait. Instead, UMG has insisted that petitioner must agree to discuss UMG's conduct not with UMG, but with Kendrick Lamar. In light of these discussions, petitioner has not conferred regarding this petition, based on its good faith that any such discussion would be futile because they would be met with the same response from UMG. Petitioner also... Oh, okay. So they basically said he wasn't going to holler at Kendrick for it. He's keeping it with UMG. Petitioner also fears, given the lengths UMG has gone to conceal his conduct, that the advanced conferral regarding this petition could result in destruction of loss or of material evidence. Gotcha. Interesting. If not for anything, chat, what this is going to be very important for all of us is that the idea that there are significant ways that the music industry has used and abused to influence the regular listener to play a song or to stream a song, we will get some proof of that. This botting atmosphere, and I think UMG is gonna fight this. Why? I won't even say because they're guilty or not. I think they're gonna fight it because this is gonna set precedents. If I'm any artist coming up, if the biggest artist y'all have is suing y'all or plans to sue y'all, but is petitioning for discovery because they're claiming that you are altering streams in a illegal way, you are in cahoots to bot streams this and third, the whole music industry will be in shambles. So I do think that they're going to go hard on this because this is the very epitome of what they don't need. If one random bum-ass artist that nobody knows sued them and said, hey, the reason why I can't compete in the marketplace is that y'all are using illegal practices to saturate it, that's one thing. It's a completely another thing if they come with this type of stuff. Well, the biggest artist is suing y'all. And if he's getting the most streams and he's suing y'all, and he's claiming this. Why wouldn't we claim this? So this is definitely a big deal if you ask me. Okay. Variety got a statement. Shout out to Variety. They did get a statement from UMG who categorically denied that they were engaged in any of the such type of activities. It says, in a response several hours after the news broke, UMG rep told Variety, the suggestion that UMG would do anything to undermine any of its artists is offensive and untrue. We employ the highest ethical practices in our marketing and promotional campaigns. No amount of contrived and absurd legal arguments in the pre-action submission can mask the fact that fans choose the music that they want to hear. It says, while other streaming services are not named in the petition, it does claim that UMG appears to have used similar tactics with other streaming services. On information and belief, UMG paid or approved. Okay. Now, some of this stuff does seem a little far-fetched, though. Why would Apple take money to change series action? But again, it could be through a third party. They could have paid a third party to manipulate, to alter. Who knows? That'll be very interesting to see. So this is going to be a fight that's going to go down. Give me 1 second here. Oh, shout out to my man Larry Jackson. My boy Larry tapping in, man. Shout out to him. Shout out to Gamma. Obviously doing their thing. I'll definitely say this, and I think Larry, number one, first of all, if you guys don't know Larry Jackson, he has this whole new initiative which is kind of like redefining really what labels are, or like really what just putting out music is with Gamma. But I'm wondering what he thinks about this whole situation with not only Drake and UMG going at it, but just UMG and as a whole. What they stopped that he was doing with exclusives, right? They have literally allowed, or not allowed, but I hear they're mad, but didn't Tyler drop a song on his Instagram? Didn't Kendrick drop music on Instagram and on YouTube, like, you know, without it being on Spotify and Apple? Didn't Drake do it? Something is, you know, some of this exclusive stuff almost kind of feels like the artists definitely, they are rebelling to a certain extent, right? Shout out to my man Larry, though. Okay. Let me see what else was. There's a few other things. Okay. Now, give me 1 second. I'll tell you. I'll tell you my journalistic shit. I'll give you my journalistic shit, which is this. I did reach out to Drake. There is no comment. And shit, you know, obviously this is a real thing, clearly. Now, I wanted to know how much he was a part of it, necessarily, as a part of, because we all know he still has a team, right? And yes, he is the sole owner of Frozen Moments LLC, but he does have a team. It's a reason why, again, he doesn't really deal with his label too much, and I've been telling you that he don't deal with his label too much. I wonder if they're going hard with this, or is it Drake himself and what his personal thought is. Again, I don't have that answer for you, and that's just honestly. And I'm pretty sure the fact that I don't have that answer for you right now means whatever you see in black and white, it is what it is. Do you get what I'm saying? There's probably, you know, hey, it's a legal thing with him and his label. There's probably no other conversation to be added on to it. That's what I would take away from that. Because if it was anything contextual that had to do with a beef or a feud, he would have definitely gladfully cleared it up. But it's a petition. A lawsuit's probably going to come. Him and his label, clearly there is it's in a very interesting point. Okay, now that's kind of interesting because there was a whole situation on Drake XQ